Anyone watch the Democratic presidential convention or the debate? Yeah? How many watched the debate? Not too, well, a couple, not too many. I watch it. I'm always entertained. I always like to see what the issues are from both sides, just to inform myself, right? And so many issues, and even within one party, they can be divisive. Some of the issues, life issues especially. You have abortion, death penalty, immigration, homelessness. All of these different issues can be divisive. Where do we spend our taxes? How much do we spend? How much should we tax the people? Foreign policy. All these issues can be divisive, right? You see it today in our country, United States. We're supposed to be united, right, as one country. But these kind of issues can divide us, especially during election season. We see it in Jesus' day as well. What are they doing? Jesus, James, John. They're going on their way to Jerusalem, up to Jerusalem. They stop in a Samaritan village. What do the Samaritans do? What do they say? You're not welcome here, right? Why do they say that? They say it because the Jews and the Samaritans didn't get along with each other. They were divided. Culturally, religiously, they despised each other. And so James and John, what do they say? Lord, just let us know, we will call down fire from heaven and consume them, right? Don't you wish you could just call down fire from heaven and consume those Republicans or consume those Democrats or consume whoever it is that we don't get along with or agree with? Don't you wish we could do that? What does Jesus do? He doesn't do that. He just says, he rebukes James and John. And he just goes on. He leaves there, moves on to another town, right? So often it's so easy to get into that habit of revenge, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And as we know, that just leaves us blind and hungry. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth was the way it was in Jesus' day. But Jesus is saying, this is not the way it should be with you. We're called to be people of forgiveness, compassion, right? Today, what do? You are not nice to me, I'm not going to be nice to you. You ignore me, I'm going to ignore you. You gossip about me, I'm going to gossip about you. You insult me, I'm going to insult you. You cut me off on the freeway, I'm going to cut you off on the freeway, and I'm going to slow down in front of you, right? Okay. You tell me I'm number one, I'm going to tell you you're number one. Not necessarily with that finger. That's the way of the world. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But Jesus, in his St. Paul to the letter of Galatians, he says that should not be the way. We should love one another and serve one another. Serve each other out of love. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the way we as Christians are called to treat. Yes, even our enemies. Yes, even those we don't get along with. This, Jesus went to the cross for. He died for the Samaritan town that rejected him. Out of love, he goes to the cross for them and for everybody. He goes to the cross. Sacrificial love for them. So easy to be divisive. So easy to separate and cause division. You see, if we follow the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, all that's going to lead to is more anger, more resentment, right? The way out is to seek to be compassionate to those that we don't get along with. Abraham Lincoln, one of my favorite, I'll call him a saint, one of my favorite heroes and a saint. Now, just because I'm from Gettysburg, I was born in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, doesn't mean I'm a little biased on this, but he was a great man. He has a great quote. He said, well, let me first back up a little bit. There was a general from the north, And the general from the north said to the president, Lincoln, he said, "President, you had an opportunity to absolutely destroy the South. Why didn't you just wipe him out? Why didn't you just destroy the enemy when you had a chance?" President Lincoln said, "Do I not destroy my enemy by making them my friend? Do I not destroy my enemy by making them my friend?" If our enemies are our friends, they are no longer our enemies. Aren't we called to treat each other with compassion, to follow the way of Jesus, as it says in the letter to the Galatians? Jesus in our gospel, he challenges us and he says, how committed are you? First reading as well, the book of Kings. Elijah challenges Elisha. God has anointed you to be a prophet. How committed are you? Elisha responds, on a commitment. At the end of our gospel, Jesus says, foxes have dens, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. So it should be with you. He calls others to follow him. And one person says, let me go first and bury my father. Jesus says, no. Another, let me say goodbye to my mother and my father. Jesus says, you're unfit for the kingdom of God. Why does he do that? Because it's okay to have a place to rest your head. It's okay, and it's actually an act of mercy to bury your father. It's okay to say goodbye to our parents if we're going to go off into the seminary, or if we're going to go off and start preaching and proclaiming the gospel. Why does Jesus say you're not fit for the kingdom of God? Why would he say that? He's saying, because if you think about your home, where you're going to lay your head to rest, if you're thinking about family issues, if you're thinking about anything other than the kingdom of God first, then you're not fit for the kingdom of God. Remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God, all these other things will be taken care of. He's not saying that those things were bad in and of themselves. They're good. But first must come what God calls us to be and to do. Our priority first must to seek the kingdom of God, to destroy our enemies by making them our friends, to serve others out of love, to love our neighbor as ourselves. If we do this, then yes, we will be fit for the kingdom of God.